Hi everyone, let's talk about Suburbia, which again was chosen thanks to supporters of the channel, and you can support the channel on Patreon. Anyway, Suburbia is probably one of the oldest games that we still own and absolutely love. It's definitely, it's been re-implemented by Castles of Mad King Ludwig, and there are plenty of other city building games there that are fantastic as well, like Quadropolis for one. But yeah, Suburbia still stands above them, even though there is kind of different shaped things, and there's the master builder element of Castles of Mad King Ludwig. We'll get into that if that ever gets voted for. But yeah, there's something about the SimCity-esque separation of the tiles into residential, industrial, and civic and commercial. Did I say them all? Probably repeated one. That makes just it gives you that beautiful tile laying feel of trying to match these things up, trying to build out your city, trying to leave enough space for, this thing wants a load of commercial next to it, but, this thing would be great next to it as well. It's got the lovely, I don't know what you would call it, the market system, the slide down market where things come out that is the perfect thing for you, but you've got to watch it as it costs a fortune, especially in the earlier rounds when you haven't got that much money. It costs a fortune and then slowly becomes more affordable. How long can you leave it though before someone else will take it away from you? The beautiful thing of every round a tile will be taken away, and so you are going to have to get rid of something from there. And it does, that does lead to kind of hate drafting in a way, in that, if I have to get rid of, I don't want to pay to get rid of a tile, although I can if there's something that's going to be really, really amazing for you. There's 2 free tiles there. One I don't care about, one I know that you really care about, so I'm going to get rid of that one. Not such a huge deal in there, but yeah, that's definitely an element of the game. But as with a lot of tile laying games, it's brilliant to, at the end, look over the kind of story of your city. My radioactive waste site, just a couple of doors down from the suburbs and the Sleepy Haven, the playground for senior citizens right next to the beef gristle mill, things like that. Then the expansions as well. Suburbia Inc. added I'm assuming you saw the playthrough, links in the description if you haven't. Suburbia Inc. added the bonuses and challenges, so, when we get to Stack B, there's a little bonus. If you've done this, get a little extra. Then there's the challenge at the start of Stack C. If you've done this harder thing, get this bigger bonus. They're nice little incentives pulling you in another direction because, you have the public goals, you have the personal goals you're shooting for. These are, short and medium term things to go for, as well as those long term goals. And they added the borders that are just beautiful because, they're bigger things. They tend to be quite expensive and lead to bigger effects. And, you can place them as, rivers as well and get another form of income rather than just the ones on the back of the tiles. These can be more valuable if you can place them perfectly. But similarly to the moat in Castles of Mad King Ludwig's expansion, that was most likely influenced by these, they restrict your placement as well. And in the sense that those moats are placed in a square, they're a frame in Castles, but in Suburbia, everything's hexes, so there is a lot more freedom to how you place these things and how you can align them along your tiles. And, how long do you wait to build the perfect thing and then get the border isn't going to get taken away from you, the same as the risk that you have with the tiles. But, yeah, it's nice making these funky shapes and trying to build around these restrictions you've ended up placing on yourself. Like that radioactive waste site I put down in the playthrough probably restricted me too much, especially the other border that I put down, and I ended up making this kind of really narrow funnel that I had to build hexes out from again, whereas Marty kept with his more standard Suburbia thing where you have all of this adjacency to build from. You have a lot of space around your other tiles. Like, oh, blue wants to be adjacent to that, so blue can go in that area. Well, if you put the borders in, that really, really limits you. And then I think that's everything that came with Suburbia Inc. And a load of new tiles as well. All the expansions come with a load of new tiles. Then Suburbia 5-star comes with elements to play 5 players. And new tiles, new bonuses, new challenges, new goals. Everything that can be seen before it comes with more of. And then it adds on those new tiles and new border tiles, the stars that you saw in the playthrough, where we are competing for those for turn order. Person who has the most stars every round is going to get a population, a point. Person at the end is going to lose a population every point, and that's even more tense in 2 players because it's a 2-point swing, right? And What else was I going to say about stars? And it breaks ties for goals, which is a huge thing. We saw a building out that did that, a really expensive building that did that for 1 gold tile. Being in the lead in stars is, huge for breaking all of those ties at the end of the game. And it's not like anyone can catch you up as well if you can get far enough along on these star things. So at certain points in the game, and depending on if you are both competing for them, it can make certain buildings that aren't that powerful, because they've got 2 stars on them or something like that, can make them really, really desirable and change up the flow. And similarly, in this game, we maxed out, as soon as someone maxes out the star track, in a 2-player game anyway, the other player is kind of like, well, I've gotten the reputation and the income bonus, why do I care now? And having the turn order change about can be really good as well, especially in a 2-player game, because it means you can get 2 games in a row. I think I've played 1 4-player game of Suburbia, maybe tons of 2-player games. The other thing, the kind of rubber banding in Suburbia is, it's not just for keeping all of the players the same, really. It's as you progress in population in this, I'll have to ruin the record of the score. As you progress in points, your population in this, you'll come across these red bars. And as you go across them, your income level, the money you're going to get every round, and your reputation, which is the population you'll get every round, has to go back by 1. And you'll see that these, here you get 14 population before you come across one of these red bars. Up here, when the scores get really high, you've got 2 points between red bars. And so if you have a decent reputation towards the end and you're getting, say, 10 points, you can be going across 5 of those things and completely destroying all of your income. And so that kind of guides, I'm losing a load of income in this, but I've still got a load of reputation. Should I start focusing on income buildings now? Or if you're me, there's none out and you just think, just tank it and just try and keep enough money to stay afloat. If you ever run out of money, by the way, and you need to lose money, you lose population instead. So yeah, all of this stuff just comes together to make a beautiful thing. There's definitely luck of the draw. If you need a load of yellow, and it's probably unlikely, but if you need a load of blue, for example, because blue isn't in a basic building, if you need a load of blue and hardly any comes out, or you buy a thing early on that rewards you for how many airports get bought and it's the only airport in the entire game, yeah, that's just a fact of it. You can, there's rules in one of the expansions that says, you can just pick if you want. You can pick the things that you want to come up, but it takes away from the fun of the game a bit to know what's in each stack. And you can kind of limit it to, for 5-star, there are very specific instructions for, in the A stack, there are 7 tiles not from 5-star and 7 tiles from 5-star. But in those 7 that aren't from 5-star, Suburbia Inc. is mixed in with that. And I don't know about the numbers and things and whether that skews the colours. I would assume they've thought of that and that it doesn't. But yeah, you in theory could get unlucky with these things, but it's a gamble going early for any of this stuff. Going for Marty's fancy restaurant early on, that's brilliant when you build it, but every time someone builds a restaurant in the whole game as well, not just you, that you're going to get penalized for it. Marty's lucky that only a few more restaurants came out. If every restaurant just happened to be in those stacks, he could have been really, really punished far more than he was ever rewarded for it. But it's kind of the gamble you take with any of these things. And there are plenty of buildings, that aren't just worried about adjacency or every, restaurant or these unusual things in there. There were plenty of buildings that came out in this game, actually, that's like, get $2 for every single industry that comes out. And I just realised I've got +2 and -2 for every industry that's out. I think I ended up with more money than I should have. Subtitles would have sorted that out there. Anyway, yeah, there's a few little things that you might need to think about, but for us, there are complete non-issues because we absolutely love Suburbia even after all of this time. And yeah, I would assume that it's not got. It has got a new expansion on the horizon, hasn't it? It's got a kind of Ultimate Edition, Deluxe Edition, where all of the art's redone and it looks very, very fancy. It was on Kickstarter a while back, and it's got, I'm not sure how substantial it is, but it's definitely got new content in it. So hopefully, if I can ever get my hands on that when it comes out, then I can bring you news of the new stuff in the Deluxe Edition. But yeah, Suburbia, great. Play through, watch that, disregard what I say. Bye, everyone.